Hello, Mr. Bond. I'm afraid I'm going to have to kill you. No, not today. Today, me and Maverick are going to help you find your next motorcycle for less than £3,000, because you don't need to be in debt to ride motorcycles in the sunshine and enjoy travelling. What I thought we'd look at is not that I can find the photographs I've took of the bikes that I found. No, I have. Is how about a 1200cc Kawasaki ZZR? Now, this bike's 2002, and the description reads, oh man's like, I want to get down. The description reads, Kawasaki ZZR 1200 2002, 36,000 miles with very good MOT history. So therefore, if it's got good MOT history, we're seeing that it's been well looked after, it hasn't failed a lot. Comes with new MOT, excellent, and fast sports tourer with passenger, exclamation mark, not too sure what he means with passenger. Maybe he's selling his wife as well, or maybe she's selling her husband. Very clean and tidy, mostly standard, airflow screen, rear wheel hugger, recent rear tyre, new number plate will be fitted. I'm assuming it's got an illegal number plate on it. Do you want to go down, Bobby? Go on then, mate. Go on then, mate. Go play. In excellent condition, but with usual minor wear and tear, cash only, from Basingbourne. I don't know where Basingbourne is. Now, these bikes are quite underrated. They're not really spoken about. It's 186 mile an hour. So for £2,000, less than £2,000, £1,800, you can have a 186 mile an hour sports tourer that's got good service history. I think that's a good shout. So that's the first one we've got. The second one we've got is a bike that I would describe as having the excitement of the milky substance that you throw down the drain after you've boiled rice. But this motorcycle will take you to Uzbekistan and back. Okay, it is a 2002 Honda ST. These bikes, again, are really reliable, really good on fuel economy, and can do lots and lots of mileage, and they're not a lot of money. So this one is a Honda Pan-European ST 1300. These are awesome motorcycles. This one is no exception. That's the seller's words. It has handlebar risers, so it's a little bit more comfortable for the taller people, adjustable brake levers, and a pair of slightly louder exhausts, as I like to hear my bike when I ride it. I don't think I've ever seen a Pan-European with louder exhaust pipes. I would imagine that to be quite a strange sensation. The standard seat and pipes are the only standard parts that come with the bike, so he's changed the seat as well. There's a taller screen for it. There's a taller screen for it, so you can put a taller screen on it. Again, if you're quite tall. I've ridden bikes that have got screens on them, and if you're quite tall like I am, the wind will chatter under your crash helmet, causing your crash helmet to lift up. So you need a screen that sort of comes to about here, like my massive nose. I need a screen that covers my massive nose. It's got top boxes. It's a Honda carpet and all three inner bags too. So I'm assuming the boxes have got carpet in them. This bike does not have ABS or electric screen. I didn't want them when I bought the bike. Recent service using Iridium plugs. So they're 30,000 miles. New pads last year plus tyres. The comfort seat may be available by separate negotiation. So the comfort seat he's not selling with the bike. A lot of people will do that. They'll buy the extras for themselves, and when they come to sell the bike, they won't sell them as part of the package. I sort of don't think that's a great idea. I think if you bought the bits for the bike, what are you going to do with a Pan-European ST 1300C once you've sold the bike, unless you're buying another one, which the chances are you're not. You're going to upgrade to a different bike or move to another vehicle. So that seat's going to sit in your loft, gathering dust, whereas it's part of the deal. You might as well just chuck it in. Give you more chance to sell your motorcycle, is what I'm trying to say. It's got over 40,000 miles. On these bikes, 40,000 miles is nothing. The Pan-European is a little bit like the BMW GS in the respect that the police use them, and ambulance services use them, Biker Down use them, because they're so reliable, really good on fuel economy. They'll get you through traffic, and they'll do all the things you need to do. Maverick's got his bone. There's two. Now, I'm not a massive fan of these tourer style motorcycles, but they will get you where you go. The next one is really for me. If I had the money sitting in my account, I would buy this bike right now. Some of you are going to be like, oh God, he's talking about Harleys. So again, if you like big touring bikes, how about a 1996 Harley Davidson electric guide? So this is the Evolution engine, or I believe it should be the Evolution engine. Here we have a 96 Electra Glide Ultra Classic on nearly 57,000 miles. Now, if you buy a Harley on 57,000 miles, you need to make sure, especially on the Evolution, that the crankshaft's been done. They get end float in them. And when they get end float in them, they can wear the bottom cylinders. I've seen this on a high mileage Evolution, but it's a Harley. You need a couple of spanners and some patience, and the job's done. They're not that difficult to work on. It's a great bike that starts first time, every time in fair condition for its age. It's tatty in places and great in others. It's priced as the cheapest on the market, so please no silly offers. And I'll be honest with you, an Evolution engine motorcycle for £3,500 is dirt cheap. That's not an expensive bike. Swaps welcome, so try me. The bike is located in Cambridge. So £3,500 that bike. And I genuinely think that's £3,500 of anybody's money. And here's the reason why. If you're looking for the next Harley Davidson that's going to go up in value, the knuckleheads, the panheads, the 45s, the shovel heads have all gathered their pace. They're all huge money. You cannot get these bikes for cheap money anymore. But the Evolution is still a cheap bike because it's not quite classic enough. It's still mid-90s. You know, the Evolution goes into the twin cam engine. So if you want the next Harley Davidson that's going to make you a lot of money when it's time to sell it, if that's why you buy a bike, the Evolution is the engine for you. The next bike we have, and I'm a huge fan of these bikes. I don't particularly like Ducatis, but I think Ducati did a really cool thing here, is their parts bin bike, which is the Ducati Monster. This one is a 2007 in black frame, black tank, black everything. It's really quite delightful. It's a 620IE, a 2007 Terra Magoni exhaust end cans. I know I've said that wrong, and I get cross when people say Akrapovic when it's Akropovich. So please, someone tell me how to say that. Tail tidy LED headlight. We all like an LED headlight. It's nice and bright and indicators. 7 months MOT. It has just had a replacement engine fitted. We're nearly identical mileage according to the seller. The last picture from the replacement engine clocks. So there's a mileage discrepancy on this vehicle, but they're not trying to hide it. They're being honest. They're saying it's had a new engine. The replacement engine is full service history with a service book included. So the new engine should be a better engine than the one they've taken out. It's got full service history. Runs and rides well, but it's slightly lumpy at low revs in low gears. Now the Ducati Monsters I've ridden, they all seem to be quite lumpy in low gears. Maybe a Ducati professional, a Ducati specialist will be able to tell me why that is or what is the wrong with the vehicle. I don't work on a lot of Ducatis. Ducati has been a Cat D insurance write-off at some point in the past, so it's also had an accident. And he's being honest about that, he's not trying to hide it. Here's one thing that I'm going to say about people who sell vehicles. Those people who are honest about whether the vehicle's been category written off or category D written off or in some way had an engine change are going to be honest about the little things. Those who try to hide those things are going to be hiding other things. So when you sell your vehicle, your motorcycle, if it's had a little drop, tell people it's had a little drop. People are going to trust you more if you give them the truth about what's being sold. That bike there is a bike that if I wanted a Ducati Monster and had the 2,500, no, it wasn't even 2,500, what was it again? Let me have a look. No, £1,750 for a Ducati Monster. That's a bike that I would go and look at and be prepared to buy, because the seller has been so upfront about it that to me there's nothing to be scared of with that vehicle. They're not going to try and hide it. It's got a wiring loom problem when they've told you that they've spent loads of money having an engine change and that it's been a category write-off. Our next bike is an absolute bargain dustbin bike. These bikes are bulletproof, they're really strong, and if you don't have a lot of money, if you haven't got £1,500 to spend on a bike, you haven't got £1,000 to spend on a bike, but you've got £500 to spend on a bike and some time to work on that bike, how about a 2000 Honda CB500? This bike is tatty as hell, but it's nothing a bit of wet or dry, can of satin black and some love and patience wouldn't sort out. I wouldn't recommend spending thousands of pounds restoring it because it's never going to be worth thousands of pounds. But if you needed just something to tinker with and a winter hack or something to get you on the road with your A2 license and you haven't got a lot of money, this is a good bike. Honda CB500, no MOT, good runner, but for spares or repairs, good engines. Now, When people sell vehicles with no MOT, they invariably will sell them as spares or repairs, so they can't get any bike back from the buyer. Going, you sold me a bike and this bike's a piece of shit. They will sell it as spares or repairs, so you understand that that bike needs work doing to it, and that's your job as the purchaser to go forward and make sure the bike's sorted out. Needs both fork seals done. Fork seals on these are probably £9 to £20 for a set, depending on what you get. Whether you get genuine Honda ones or whether you get really cheap manufactured ones. I would get genuine Honda ones, or at least all balls ones, or TRKs. Okay. Chain and sprocket replaced a couple of bolts missing on panels, and rear indicators need to be wired in also. Indicators are not difficult to wire in. You wire it from where it comes out of the fuse box or from the relay. Follow a wiring diagram. Manual's 25 quid with this bike, so it's £525 with a manual. The manual will give you a wiring diagram. You follow the wiring, wire it in. Make sure you wire a fuse between your lives. I had a motorcycle in, which some of you hopefully have seen the video, where someone had not wired a fuse between the live. That is dangerous. Will need rear tyres soon, as some rust on rear shocks. Springs generally needs shock springs. It generally needs a good clean. Can deliver 20 miles. Stratford upon Avon. Has logbook in my name. 500 quid, no offers. So there's some work to be done to this bike. But you could, before you bought this bike, you could go on to WeMoto. You could go on to eBay. You could go on to anywhere where you can buy parts. You could calculate, I need a new set of rear shocks. Set of rear shocks for a bike like that off eBay. For that money, you could buy some cheap Chinese shocks for 100 quid. It wouldn't matter that much. The dog just hit the camera, I'm sorry, but he's running around, he's happy. He is in fact actually ripping a teddy bear to pieces, like all little staffies do. So you could go and have a look at some cheap Chinese shocks just to put this through its MOT, just to get it looking neat and tidy. And I've seen some of these Chinese shocks out there, don't get me wrong, they're not as good as your K-Tex and stuff like that. But for 100 quid for a £500 bike, why not? You're only doing it to get on the road because you don't have loads of money, and that will allow you to get new shocks, probably adjustable shocks for it, ride it, MOT it. It hasn't cost you loads of money. You see hit the camera again, but we're not bothered by that. So there's our bargain bucket. This one's an even bigger bargain, but you do need 1,500 quid. Now, we all know that I'm an advocate for the Honda VFR 800. And this one is a 2000 Honda VFR 800 in white. And in white, it looks absolutely amazing. It's a really pretty bike. The person needs it gone to make space for his new bike. This is a pristine condition VFR 800i for sale. This is the one to have according to all the experts. I'm sure all the experts say it is. Impulse buy it off a mate that needed the space, but my back problems meant I can't ride it as much as I'd like. To be fair, I've ridden a Honda VFR 800. I ride one regularly. Like I said before in previous videos, Tony's got one. And if you're a tall person, they will cause you a little bit of back problems. You do want a set of risers. He's now stolen a sock. Maverick is now chewing a sock. Just been serviced by a reputable garage. All invoices and history available. Loads of extra pictures. This bike here, I think, is a bike for you to buy if you're on a budget and you want to get on the road for a budget. The VFR 800, it's got VTEC. It will make you smile. They handle really well. They're very reliable, and this thing is really clean. I actually showed it to Tony, and she told me not to because she doesn't want to spend any more money on motorcycles. Not right now. I'm sure you heard that. Not right now. Now, the next one that I've got is a bike that I'm a huge fan of. Like I said at the last video, I'm a massive fan of muscle bikes. I love big sit-up and beg bikes that you sit on like that and you look like you're down the road. Okay, this is a ZRX 1200. It's a 2002. The person's owned it for a few years. Starts lovely and runs and rides sweet. They just don't get time to use it. This is where you can steal yourself a bargain. When people are trying to get rid of their bikes because they don't use them and they're running out of space, you know that they're getting it in the ear to move that bike. That bike's in the way, get it out of the way. You don't use that bike, sell it. Blah, 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 blah. So you can get a good bargain with this. It says, runs and rides sweet, just don't get time to use it as should be. Since bought an adventure bike to get more use out of. The carbs have just been rebuilt because it had running issues. Now, all of these bikes, whenever people go, yeah, but you find these bikes, Chris, and they'll have running issues because of carburetors. If you buy a carburetted bike with modern E5 and E10 fuels, you have to accept the fact you need to use it regularly. If you leave the ethanol-based fuels in your carburetor float bowls for more than about 6 weeks, it will separate, it will go green, and you will end up with blocked idle jets, and in severe cases, blocked main jets, and it will not start and run well. You either have to be very disciplined and drain the float bowls out and drain the tank out, or fill the tank all the way and use a fuel stabilizer, or you just have to ride your bike. And if you are not disciplined to do that, then make sure you buy EFI, electronic fuel injection. Okay. New radiator, as it started to leak after winter months of being stood, so it's got a brand new radiator. Radiators are expensive. Radiator for that's probably 180, 200 pounds. So you know that's done. And at that age, we can expect radiators to start to weep. Fitted brand new battery. Both brakes have had fluid changes. MOT has run out, but can put MOT on before the buyer takes it. £2,250. And again, they're a pretty bike, 2,250 quid, which truthfully means it's £2,000. They put the 250 quid there because that's their buffer zone. So you could go there with £2,000, and actually if you didn't ask them to MOT, you could probably get it for 1,800 quid. Go, hasn't got an MOT on it, mate, I'll offer you £1,800 for it. It's a really pretty bike, as you can see. It's in silver and black. It's not quite the colour I would have it in. I would have it in the green personally, but that's a really nice bike for not a lot of money. The next one we have is a bike that I personally own one of. Huge fan of it. This bike is a really quick bike as well. It is a 1995 Kawasaki GPZ 1100E. In blue, almost completely standard. The only thing I don't like about this bike is they've put a shitty Black Widow exhaust on it. I really don't like Black Widow exhausts. Can people please stop putting Black Widow exhausts on their bike? They're really obnoxious and they're just not performance enhancing in any way. When I see a Black Widow exhaust on a motorbike, it makes me want to sort of cover myself in honey and jump into a beehive and deliberately be stung to death because it's upsetting. Just get an Akropovich, you know, get a Delkovic. Get a Delkovic full exhaust system for these bikes. Delkovic exhaust systems, UK built. Brilliant, brilliant bikes. They're 600 quid for a full stainless steel exhaust pipe system. They sound good, they look good, and they will give you a performance increase. A Black Widow zip-on will not, okay? Slip-on, not strap-on. Here is my 1995 Kawasaki GPZ 1100E in blue. This is a non-ABS model and has covered a genuine 13,000 miles. It's done 13,000 miles from new. Just been MOT'd and has plenty spent on it to refresh its condition. New Pirelli Angel GT tyres, powder coated wheels, Cerakoted swing arm and footrest, new steering bearings, new fork seals, new bearings all round, refreshed shock linkages, which are really important. My one had C shock linkages in it, which caused me all sorts of problems. That's why it's not on the road 2 years later, because I just bought another bike, because that's what mechanics do. Cerakoted and rebuilt calipers all round, new pads, new oil filter, air filter and plugs, Black Widow stainless in 4x2 exhaust, and take it off, put the original ones on there. A nice practical sports tourer with just a few notable areas of wear and tear, as you would expect on a 31-year-old bike. Plenty of life left in it. 1,900 quid. £1,900. He's actually reduced to £1,750. So he's reduced it because, again, they're not an easy bike to get rid of. And from someone who lived with a GPZ 1100 for a long time, if you're not very strong, don't buy that bike. They are quite heavy. If you're not physically capable enough, I would suggest a lighter bike, not a smaller engine bike, but a lighter bike, because they are quite heavy to manoeuvre. They are made out of pig iron and all sorts of other things. So just be aware of that. But if you're physically capable enough to ride that bike, they're a brilliant bike and they sound amazing. The next one, we have a bit of a British icon from the early Triumph revitalisation, to be honest with you. It is a Triumph Thunderbird Sport 900 1997 in black and red. This is a cool looking bike. I think they're a really cool looking bike. I can't say too much about this bike because the description is really vague. I don't like sellers putting vague descriptions on there, but sometimes they do. It says, I'm selling my Triumph Thunderbird Sport 900 due to lack of use, year 1997, MOT till 30th of April 2026, 2 keys, 48,000 miles. Mileage is quite high, so you'd want to check with the seller about service history, how regularly it's been serviced. It looks really clean. The photo, Maverick, he just decided to rag out his penguin, didn't he? Eh? Come on then. He's like, Dad, I didn't mean to knock the camera. Dad, I didn't mean to knock the camera because I was just playing. So, yeah, again, really nice bike. I'm not going to say too much about it because there's not a lot in the description. Is it a bike that I would go and look at if I wanted to try and Thunderbird Sport? Absolutely, it is. And in the black and red, I think it looks better than it does in the yellow. The next one we've got, do you want to go back down and play? These bikes I don't particularly like, okay, but I know they're really popular with you guys out there. And if I'm giving you purchasing advice on motorcycles, it can't just be about what I like. Sometimes I have to look at what you guys might like. How about a BMW GS 1150? Now, they have a huge cult following because Charlie Borman and Ewan McGregor going around the world, down the world, up the world, inside the world's cavities on these things. Details are as follows. There you go, mate. You go play. Details are as follows. MOTV5 present in owner's name at his address. I sort of think that should be a given if you're selling a motorcycle. It's a 2001 on a Y plate. It's done 45,000 miles. We know that these bikes can do 100,000 miles, 150,000 miles. We've seen it on the television, we've seen other people doing it. Since Charlie and Ewan done this, loads of other people have also done it on them. The bike has adjustable rear O-ring shock worth £1,000 alone, panniers, a Z-Tech higher touring screen. I have no idea what a Z-Tech higher touring screen is. Oh, excuse me. As I've never bought one of those things. It's got a new battery, all ready for adventure. And he's put, and I think he's got a good point here, remember that this is the last easy to service BMW, so you don't have to go to a BMW dealer and spend loads of money having them service it. You can buy the tools and service this bike at home, saving yourself loads of money. Has been serviced and really looked after, only £2,600. I think for £2,600, that bike's going to get you a long way for not a lot of money, and I reckon you get it cheaper than that. Remember, the second-hand market is a buyer's market, not a seller's market. So you could go there with 2,350, put the cash out on the bike and say that's what I'm offering, and the chances are you're going to get it for that. And then that's paid for your insurance. It's going to give you £300 to pay for your insurance, £350 to pay for your insurance. So I think that's a good bike for people who want a BMW GS that don't have the 15, 16, 17, 18,000 pound that you require to buy a good newer second-hand one or a brand new one. Our last bike of the day is a 2009 Honda Hornet. Now, the reason I chose the Honda Hornet for this is because in my last video, someone commented about Honda Hornets and stuff like that. I had a Honda Hornet for my first road legal motorcycle. Thought it was a brilliant bike, fantastic little mid-ranger, great A2 licensed bike. I believe they're still A2 classified. It does say that this one is, so I'm pretty sure they are. They will give you loads of bang for your buck. Remember, it is a Fireblade engine that's been detuned. They've got that really cool sort of water hose that comes over. It looks like it's out of like Transformers or something. And they're no money. And they're pretty easy to work on. This is a 2009 Honda Hornet 600cc with 23,700 miles on it. It's no miles for a Honda. Good condition, years MOT until August 2026. Owned for 5 years, very reliable. £2,100. Again, they are saying they want £2,100 for this bike. If you took £1,800 in cash in one pocket and left the other money in the other pocket in case they didn't budge, you may well squeeze them for 1,800 quid on that bike. Cash is king. When people see the money outlaid on the bike, that's when they're going to take it. If they don't want it, you can always try the walking away trick. If this is the sort of bike that you're looking at, I would actually rather the Hornet over the Bandit and the Phaser. I've had a Bandit, I've had a Phaser, and I've had a Hornet. And although they're all good in their own right, I think the Hornet beats all of them because not only does it carry the engine as a stress member in the frame, which means it doesn't have a twin tubular cradle frame like the Bandit does, which can cause lots of flex, and you'll feel that when at high speed in bends. Where it's a aluminium stress member frame like the Fireblade, like R1s and R6s and CBR 600RRs, it doesn't have that flex in the frame, so they handle really well. And unlike the Yamaha, which you've got to get it at 4, 5, 6, 7,000 RPM before it even comes into its life, the Hornet has a very linear power delivery. So you're getting power at 2,000 RPM and at 8,000 RPM. And that was the thing for me that really sort of made me think that they're the better bike for the mid-rangers. The Honda Hornet beats the Bandit and beats the Phaser because all round, as an encompassed vehicle, as a motorcycle, it gives you a far better ride and a far better power delivery and torque curve than the Bandit does and the Phaser does. I personally think the Bandit engine is a more fun engine, but the Bandit chassis isn't as good. I think the Phaser, and the chances are if you looked at the figures, the Phaser is probably more powerful, but I don't want to have to get a bike screaming its head off to get any power out of it. Those are our top 10, I think I've done 10, maybe 11 motorcycles for this week. I apologise for it not being on last week. I got really busy in the workshop and I didn't have time to sit down and make a video because I had work coming in and it was coming in at a massive rate and I had to get it out. Didn't want to let customers down. And I know I let you guys down by not showing you what you can buy for less than £3,000 on the internet. Please leave a comment below on what you think of the bikes that we've chosen this week. I think we've chosen some different bikes to last week or the week before. And give us a like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.